All right, if you just joined us, this is still Enterprise Friday on Enterprise TV, and now to our main conversation for today. 16 state governors have submitted reports expressing their support for the establishment of state police to the National Economic Council.
Yes, they also recommended changes to the constitution to allow for the creation of state police.
The report were amongst the documentations received at the 104th NEC meeting presided over by Vice President Kashim Shettima at Azurok on Thursday.
The special advisor to the Vice President of Media and Communications, Stanley Nkwocha, made the revelation in a statement he signed Thursday titled NEC endorses takeoff of $617 million IDICE program across states.
Well, that's what we have for today. And still with us in the studios is Emeka Amadu Nagu. Thank you so very much, sir, for being around. And of course, this borders on the big question that we have. It's been trending for a while on both the traditional and the new media, and that is on state policing. Unfortunately, it seems to us in Nigeria that it's becoming more of a lip service. We keep talking about it. We keep talking about it. We see the urgent need for state police. But as more as we talk about it, the less we want to see or we see action. Why do you think that is the case?
Well, the call for state police is born out of desperation in sections of society about the failings of the federal police. Nigeria is a federation, and to that extent, it should be seen to be operating the federal system of government. So things like policing, something like policing should actually not be on the exclusive list, just the responsibility of the federal government, but states should be a part of it. The conversation has gone on for a long time, and I think, the section of society thinks that the time has come to implement it. And so, well, we are on that path. But I hope that enough thought is given to the wider implications of setting up state police, the funding, the control, then likely abuses, and then sanctions for abuses, then qualifications. What kind of people are you going to put into state police? Is this some ragtag fellows you put into state police and unleash them on the people? These things are very important so that we don't set up one more organization for the oppression of the already traumatized ordinary Nigerian.
Right, Emeka. So I'll take you on what you just said about the constant abuse of power and then the fear that state police might fall along that path. But a critical prerequisite to establishing the state police is the amendment of the 1999 Constitution. There's been a lot of yo-yo about that. But talk to us about what government should begin to drive in terms of working towards that part or amending the Constitution.
Yeah, of course, there should. Since the governors have expressed support for it, there should be the unanimity of purpose. 16 governors out of 36. Well, it's encouraging to some extent, but not very encouraging, because you have 20 more governors. They will also have to reach out to their people, to their state houses of assembly. You're talking of many states that can't pay the minimum wage of 18,000 declared some years ago.
Right.
Not to talk of the existing 30,000. And then you want to now add state police to them. Can they fund it? But you see, the irony in the whole thing is that look at the funding of the federal police, the existing federal police. It's actually being done by many states. States buy vehicles. They buy they build police stations, they equip police stations. They provide fuel for the police, for the federal police. And so you just wonder that if not for the states, how will the police operate? How much interest is given to DPOs to ensure patrols? You find out that when you see police vehicles on the road on patrol, is actually due to donations by state governments and organizations and public spirited individuals. The neglect of the police is really concerning. And therefore, what needs to be done is that all stakeholders must agree that we really need state policing. Now, if we want to cascade policing to the level of the states, it should not be, we should not witness the same kind of abuses of federal police. We are said to have about 375,000 to 400,000 policemen on the payroll of the Nigeria Police Force. But that about 150 to 175,000 have been attached to politicians, private individuals, government officials, and all of that. So when you do the math, that means you have just about maybe 200,000 policemen serving 200 million Nigerians. Break the math further down. How many? One policeman to how many Nigerians? So we need to increase the numbers of the police at the federal level. Then if we are cascading responsibilities, good and fine. But there must be clear-cut constitutional responsibilities. And in that amendment of the Constitution, it must be stated that there will be sanctions for any abuse. It should not be a party thing, whereby if the infractions are coming from a certain state, because the party in control in that state is the same in control at the center, then you gloss over clear abuse of human rights. It should not be acceptable.
Yes, so Emeka, talking about clear abuse of human rights, I think with the federal police, that can be maybe sectioned to individuals who on their own will love to carry out certain things that are not ethical in the police. But let's talk about systemic abuse. For example, look at Hisba in Kano State. That is, for me, systematic abuse of people who are not in line with a particular faith. Understand? For a Christian, for example, who maybe loves to take alcohol, for example, or don't you think that is a clear court stamp on his fundamental human right to exercise his freedom when Hisba, for example, is taken as a state police in Kano State? So how do you think that can be controlled on a bigger scale if it happens?
It's unfortunate that we just allow certain things to fester, illegalities to fester. This thing started under, I think, was it the PDP government then? Was it not under Kwankwaso, PDP? And then the government kept quiet. It moved to Ganduje under APC. The government kept quiet. Now it has moved to NNPP. These are things that the government at the center, the National Assembly, should just come out and say, they're illegal. You saw somebody, was it a governor or so in one of the northern states, took it a notch higher, started recruiting people into an illegal security outfit. But the government had to step in quickly and disband them. You see, we must tell ourselves the truth. Nigeria is a secular state. It's a secular state. You cannot impose your religion on me. It is wrong. Some of these things we do whereby we allow people to get away with imposing their faith on other people is wrong. You say Hisba. What is Hisba? It's an illegal outfit. And let me tell you, one thing they risk is that somebody might get angry enough, aggrieved enough to sue them and get as far as the Supreme Court. And the court will tell them that, yes, you may be the creation of the State House of Assembly, but all laws in the Federation must be in consonance with the Constitution. Where there's a conflict, the Constitution takes precedence. So Hisba is illegal, and the Supreme Court might uphold huge damages against them, and they will learn a bitter lesson.
So even if that works in accordance to their Sharia law, which of course is unwittingly, we have two constitutions, don't you think that would pass?
No, we don't have two constitutions. We have one constitution. yes, the fact that Sharia is mentioned in the Nigerian Constitution, fine, but it is not mentioned as a quasi-constitution, as an alternative constitution. So it only gives allowance for certain administrative and judicial procedures.
Okay.
So we must, in dealing with these issues, tell people when they are clearly exceeding constitutional boundaries. They must be made to know that the rule of law takes precedence. That you might take an action today. It might take 10 years, 20 years, 50 years. But one day, you will be brought to justice. So I think the Kano State government should disband the Hisbah immediately. If you want, you see, moral suasion is a stronger tool than coercion. Don't drink, don't this, don't that. There are still places where people drink conveniently. In Kano, you go to Kano, you ask people, this thing, I need to, they will tell you, go to so and so places. You will get, I'm telling you from personal experience, I don't drink, but I'm a journalist. I have anywhere I go, I have my ears to the ground.
Yeah.
Of course, they tell you, don't worry, you can go to so and so places, you get beer to drink. So why do you think you will stop trucks belonging to private organizations and destroy them? That is lawlessness. And let me tell you, one day,
the tax, of course, they share the tax
of the VAT. Yeah. You don't pay any compensation to those companies. Let me tell you something. You see, unfortunately, you see big companies declaring huge losses, including Nigerian breweries, and people are not looking into that. Nigerian breweries declared a huge loss for 2023 operations. People are not looking into that. When you destroy the goods of these people, when you destroy their businesses, this thing eats into their balance sheets. Yet, you expect them to perform well. You expect them to employ young graduates every year, to employ Nigerians at different levels every year. You expect them to provide corporate social services. You expect them to pay their taxes, but you are disrupting their operations. What kind of reasoning is that? That is not, that's an affront of good governance and must be stopped.
All right. Thank you so much, Emeka. There's something I'd really love for you to speak to. It's a good thing that we are finally talking about and then coming together to agree on state police. But beyond state policing, there are other components and elements that makes for the level of insecurity that we see subsisting in Nigeria, from poverty to unemployment, underemployment, climate change, and and then a lot more. Speak to how government can actually, cover other areas, because at the end of the day, if we have state policing in existence, we might still suffer insecurity because state policing is not looking like the silver bullet, right? So how about unemployment and other factors that also contribute to the level of insecurity?
And while you answer that, Minister Emeka, please, I would love you to add the fact that so many states who can't pay civil servants, how do you expect them to comfortably pay their police if eventually?
That's why I'm saying that. You see, minimum wage for me should be decentralized. You shouldn't force a uniform minimum wage on the entire federation. That's one. Secondly, I believe government can think of something like this. If you want to implement state police, you have to there has to be a fund, like the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation. There has to be a fund.
Set aside?
But set aside for reparations, for abuses, to ensure that you can run that state police, pay them salaries. You see, the states just engage in theatrics by thinking that, okay, we can pay minimum wage. You cannot pay. Why not come out and ask the National Assembly to amend the Wage Act and say, okay, states, pay what? Just pay a reasonable wage, a living wage. You expect somebody in Lagos to be earning the same thing as somebody in Zamfara or somebody in Ekiti. It doesn't work out like that. It doesn't work out like that. It puts more pressure on people in Lagos. Because when you say minimum wage has been increased, the landlords are taking note, the market women are taking note. In Lagos, more than in those areas. Talking about state police is not a silver bullet, but I think it's some progress along the path to good governance. the thing is this, you see, laws are made for men, not men for laws. If men can implement laws with a huge sense of responsibility, we'll have, we'll have a decent society. But when people persist in implementing the law in a breach, that is when we have serial abuses. And these things are avoidable. You can do without serial abuses. I mean, you're dealing with human beings. You can handle them in such a way that the law, to the extent that the law permits you. Then look at the killings going on in Benue, in Plateau. These people are not amorphous. BBC the other day brought out a documentary that the military said it cannot access those areas where these bandits are. But BBC went to meet those bandits. One of them had just been killed in an airstrike. So to tell you that there must be innovative approaches to dealing with this thing. You talk about irrigation. Do you know billions have been pumped into desertification programs for the north? But the money is stolen, diverted. Now we're bearing the consequences because desertification is advancing at a rapid rate downwards, down south. You have erosion. A former IG of police, MD Abubakar, said that 70% of the causes of crime have to do with socioeconomic issues. Let me tell you something. 98% of Nigerians are in survival mode.
99%, please.
Well, let me say 2% of those maybe businessmen, those billionaires, and the politicians. That's the 2% I'm leaving aside. But 98% are in survival mode.
Very true.
And those who don't have that moral, who don't have that moral strength to say no to crime, they're easily lured into different kinds of crime. And so it's at different levels. It's at different levels. So what we need to do, like I say again and again, we must tackle the socioeconomic issues. There must be jobs. Right now, there must be food. Government is still joking. There's hunger everywhere. They're still joking. They're still testing the patience of the people. Make sure there is food everywhere at affordable prices. You will bring down part of the problem. Then deal with these header issues. You have talked of ranching. Tell these headers enough is enough. Build ranches for them in different places. If they cannot head their cattle, then deal with them. You have the National Livestock Transformation Program. Implement it. Implement it so that we can have a decent society where the rule of law thrives. Otherwise, it's just a matter of time. You see what's happening in Niger Delta. You see what's happening in Niger Delta with Okwama and different places. Just a matter of time. You will see it happening in the Middle Belt. It's just a matter of time. That the people will say enough is enough and they'll take arms. They'll take up arms. And then it will be difficult to control them because they won't see anybody, whether headsman or so policeman or military man. They don't care. Anybody is fair game. And by then, what would you have done? You let a problem linger for so long that it now assumed uncontrollable dimensions. We will have enough time now to say enough is enough and to put a stop.
Emeka, please. Sorry, Henry.
Yeah.
Just one more question. Security is a collective responsibility, as I like to look at it. What role should we play as citizens of Nigeria to support the government to fight against this hydra-headed demon?
Yes, like I've said, the whistleblower policy. See something, say something. But when you tell people, see something, say something, you should attach a reward to it. So that, for instance, when insurgents are planning an attack and somebody is aware and knows that he or she will make some money from it, the person can send information to certain numbers. It helped a lot in Anambra State. It helped a lot. So the person can send information and security agencies can move in a quicker fashion to counter such things. So we will not just say give information, provide useful information like we've heard from when we were born. Add some incentives to it. Protect your whistleblowers and then promise them that they will get a reward. And their identities will be protected. You will see how information will come out. Or you see all these politicians hiding money in different places. There will be nowhere to hide such money because the people they are sending to hide the money will be the ones who will go back and make calls that man just dug a septic tank where he kept some billions.
Very
Thank
true.
you.
You know, Chinyere,
Yes.
some Nigerians would say this is more like an old wine in a new wine bottle.
Okay.
And, the case of the state policing and all, if the federal police could be better taken care of, possibly there wouldn't be need for the state police. What do you think?
Absolutely, Emeka. Sorry, Henry.
Yeah.
I remember a video that trended a few weeks ago, if not a few months ago, of a military man in the bush crying out that he needed to travel to see his family.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then you have no idea. He said unprintable things.
Yes.
And that goes to buttress your point.
And he
which
was
is-
incarcerated.
Yes, he was.
Yes.
He was.
Yes.
And it's a shame, really. It
Shame,
is.
really. That's really a very sad one. But of course, what do we do? Like we often say, we can have a sustainable country, a sustainable economy without security. Security
Absolutely.
is the bane of every surviving society, and Nigeria cannot be exempted in this cause. Thank you so very much,
you so
Emeka,
much, Mr. Emeka.
for being part of our show today. It was really indeed an engaging discussion. Thank you so very well.
Have a wonderful weekend.
Yes, thank you. And for you watching, we'd love to say thank you also for giving us your time this Friday. Please do well to visit our website at www.enterprisetv.com, like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. I am Henry Igubike.
And I'm Chinyere Igweodu.
On behalf of the entire team of Enterprise TV, thank you for watching. Bye-bye from us.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of